Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football, from the latest signings to this year's breakout stars, and all the news in between. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex.
So what's up, man? How was your weekend?
It was good. I went to a wedding on Friday, even though it was just horribly hot. It was about 104 degrees that day.
In San Francisco?
No, out here.
Oh, out here. Oh, you went.
Yeah,
Okay, you're still in town.
Yeah, never get that hot.
Yeah.
And it was an outdoor wedding too.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I feel sorry for you, son.
I feel sorry for me too. And then I had regular work, work to do on Saturday, and then my girlfriend ran a 5K on Sunday, so I woke up at 5 in the morning to go to her 5K downtown Sacramento.
Sweet.
And it was a good time. How was your weekend?
It was alright. I didn't really do too much, I tried to stay away from the heat as much as I could, and that didn't happen.
Try to stay from what?
Try to stay away from the heat. I try to stay away from it. Yeah. So, matter of fact, there's actually some big news in sports that broke this past weekend. Muhammad Ali passed away. Unfortunately, yeah. And where were you at when you heard the news? Like, what was your thoughts? Immediately after.
I want to say I had to go get something from the store before the wedding on Friday. So I want to say it was something like that. My girlfriend saw the notification that he had passed away because I had seen that he went to the hospital. Yeah. It wasn't looking good. So I had seen that, and it was unfortunate. Muhammad Ali is such a big, pop culture phenom. Phenom.
Hey, he was an icon.
Yeah, icon. All of those things. Where were you when you heard?
I was actually coming out of the grocery store when I heard the news, and I'm like, what? What? Like, this can't be true. It's amazing. It's not really amazing, but it's like it was surprising news.
It was surprising and unsurprising.
Exactly, at the same time. Surprising because we were all kind of preparing for it, but I don't think we were really ready for it, Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's definitely greatest of all time, and boxing transcended the sport, and he's been a huge pop culture icon. And what he did in the ring, outside of the ring, is just amazing. And yeah, our my condolences go out to the Ali family. And I don't think there will ever be another athlete like him, especially today's age in sports,
With the way he did things, yeah.
Yeah, that too. Some of the things he did would be considered radical nowadays, but
I just mean the persona he had.
Yeah,
the way
too.
he fought and the way he carried himself.
Yeah,
there's not. I mean,
that's why
a person like him again.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Some of the things he said. People would look at him kind of differently now if he did those things back then. If he did those things now, so
I suppose so, but yeah, just the way he carried himself, and always going to be remembered as one of the greatest of all time. So he'll be best.
All right, well, moving on to our first story of the show, Nick Foles. Yeah, it appears that Nick Foles has been skipping OTAs for the Los Angeles Rams. Wow, I almost said St. Louis.
You gotta get used to it. See, I don't have an issue messing up St. Louis because I'm used to saying LA because of how frequent I delve into the history of the NFL, so I'm used to saying LA Rams. I'm not used to, but it's not weird to me,
No, it's not weird to me. It's just that I'm just
close,
used to saying But yeah, he's been skipping OTAs apparently since the team drafted Jared Goff, last April. So, what are your thoughts on Nick Foles?
I mean, very understandable. I mean, look at it. He got traded there last year. He started a decent amount of games. I want to say 6 to 8. I'd have to look it up. But he started on, and he got supplanted by Case Keenum, and then they drafted this number 1 overall quarterback, and then they put a first-round tender on Case Keenum. So it kind of puts him in a position almost like the odd man out. And so, to me, I feel like it's not a surprise for him to be kind of, not wanting to show up, and I'm not really surprised at all, to be honest. I mean, he played a total of, I pulled it up here, just a second.
He only played 11 games last year.
He didn't start all of them either.
No.
So, I mean, he had a year, 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Not amazing, but nothing like his years in Philadelphia.
Really, yeah, especially 2013, his breakout year.
Mm-hmm. 27 to 2 touchdown to interception ratio.
That's like video game numbers.
Yeah, I remember how long it took him to throw his first interception. It was crazy.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think he wasn't going to throw one that year.
Yeah, exactly. And so, excuse me, Monday, I think totally fitting for him to want to not be there. What do you think?
Understandably, I can understand where he's coming from. This is a guy that, remember, he got traded for another guy that kind of had the same, that's kind of like looked upon as a backup too, is Sam Bradford, even though he was a starter last year.
Well, he had a real kind of weird situation because I don't know if looked at as a backup because he came in as the starter, but looked at as, I don't know if you want to say wild card.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a better word. Let's put it wild card, but yeah.
With his injury problems and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
But I completely understand it.
Yeah, I completely understand it too.
I don't see them keeping Foles.
No, I think his days with the Rams I think they're pretty much done, honestly. Because, they got all their chips on Jared Goff right now. Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't you? He's the number 1 overall pick. You drafted him to be a starter.
Have to.
Yeah, you kind of have to,
I agree with you. I think he can go somewhere and be productive. I don't think the Rams system was the best kind of system for him. I think that if he can go somewhere and honestly, it depends really with how their quarterback situation shapes out. But people always say the most common, or not most common, but the most makes the most sense would be go to the Niners and play Chip Kelly's system where he played so well.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, especially with the quarterback problems that they're having right now. Exactly. But yeah, I can see that.
But I can also see them not doing that because of they have so much invested in Kaepernick.
Yeah, and
who knows what's going on overall.
Financially, it doesn't make sense. So
well, it's not a huge contract for them to take on unless he's released, because then they can sign him to a minimum. At least not a minimum, but a lower deal.
But the thing is, though, do you think the Rams will find a trade partner for him?
I think there could be teams interested. He was a commodity his last couple of years there in Philadelphia. People were interested in him. Excuse me. So teams that are quarterback needy, I feel like could definitely go do it. Whether it's a team like, even though the Cowboys say they are very sold on Kellen Moore and they have Dak Prescott, if they need another veteran in there, a team like the Lions, who I think it's just Bradford, and then if Sean Hill's still there.
The Lions?
Yeah, the Detroit Lions.
You said Bradford. Matthew Stafford.
I thought you said Stafford.
No, you said Bradford.
Apologies.
Yeah.
A team like the Falcons, who don't really have a hugely proven quarterback behind Matt Ryan.
What about the New York Jets with all their problems with
No, they have
right now.
They have multiple two young quarterbacks to bring in another guy in the room there. They have 3 real young guys. To add a veteran will just kind of mud things up, I feel like. Or at least to add Foles. A team like, I could see the Dolphins, a team like the Texans, definitely also.
Yeah, Texans, yeah. Maybe, do you think the Broncos, maybe? I know they got Mark Sanchez and Lynch over there, but...
I think they are, at least it seems like they are fine with their situation, because they say Sanchez is the presumed starter.
Yeah, he's like, as of right now,
who has the ability but doesn't have the comfortability in the pro-style offense. And then you have Trevor Siemian, who was a 7th-round pick from 2 years ago, who knows the system better than all of them.
Yeah, he's actually a dark horse candidate.
Yeah, they're saying don't be surprised at it. Yeah. And I feel like that's also them just saying, is it going to be him or him? And then a way of not answering the question is saying, well, don't be surprised if it's him, too. It could be any of them. So I think that could, I don't know if you'd go there. A team like the Colts.
Yeah, I
don't
can
have
see that.
Now that Hasselbeck retired.
Yeah.
They don't really have anybody behind
maybe
Luck that's has been a starter.
I could possibly see that maybe the Titans, with the young quarterback, at the helm right there.
And having Mettenberger being released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see him being a backup there.
There's plenty of teams that could be in the market for a quarterback.
Yeah. You can never have too many quarterbacks on your team. So especially having a good backup. Especially having a good backup.
Yes, but you also have the whole, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback.
Well, that's not what I was trying to say. I'm saying like you can never have depth at that position.
It's never bad to have depth, which is true. You can have too many quarterbacks, believe me. But yes, it is not wrong to have a serviceable backup, at least, if not 2 guys that could do it. So I agree with you on that. But we're going to take a quick break here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. We have some retirement news, some safety news in general, actually, coming at you here in a second at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.GSMCpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And other news today, we got some safety news that broke out this week and earlier today. But first, we're going to start with the news from last week. Free agent cornerback Walter Thurman actually decided to retire at the age of 28. I believe last Tuesday or Wednesday. Either way, it was last week. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Walter Thurman retiring?
It's surprising. Walter Thurman, for those of you who don't know, is a fourth-round pick from Seattle in 2010, by Seattle, I suppose.
By Seattle.
Oregon. Surprising. He played his first 4 seasons with the Seahawks before heading to the NFC East and spending a season each with the Giants and the Eagles. The last year was his best year, in the pros.
Yeah. He had a kind of a breakout year, kind of.
In a sense, he was the one kind of sure piece in that iffy secondary of the Eagles. He played all 16 games, which is the first for his career. He had all career highs in tackles, 52, interceptions 3, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. All of those are career highs. So it's definitely not a lack of production, I guess you could say, in the sense of reasons to retire. We're seeing a lot more guys, younger guys, deciding to retire, whether it's from injuries or fear of injuries or eventual, problems with health when they are older. So I really don't know what the reasoning behind it was.
Actually, I think it's because he wants to pursue a film career as a director. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I did read that.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty interested in film and directing, and apparently he's not too bad at it.
Yeah, that's his passion now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, he's got the money to go and feed that need, I suppose you could say. Yeah, and I want to go back to it's kind of like a trend, kind of occurring now in the NFL. With players retiring early. You got Patrick Willis retiring early. He's actually a Silicon Valley worker now. Well, it's not necessarily that he retired early. I mean, he had been in the league since 2006. So it's roughly a 10-year career. Yeah. But, no, he definitely had more football left in him. And then there's guys like Chris Borland.
Yeah, I think 1 year in the league.
Yes, and then he retired.
And Calvin Johnson just retired. He had a couple of good years left in him.
I'm sure he had
I think he had probably 5 or 7. Maybe 5, most likely 5. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you never know with receivers, I guess you could say, you never know really in general how much time a certain player has left if they get hurt or anything like that, but he had some years left in him. Yeah. You look at players like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head real quick. Like I said, a few Niners. Anthony Dixon a couple years ago retired, came back recently, but had retired.
You want to go back to the 49ers, Glenn Coffey, he actually retired.
He's in the armed forces.
Yeah, he went to join the military,
Which is great on him. That's awesome. But plenty of players, yes, retiring earlier now than we had seen in the past. So, maybe this guy just, football wasn't the biggest thing in his life. And he, like you said, is interested in a filmmaking career, that's totally awesome. By all means, pursue that and enjoy doing that,
Yeah, and then also I want to get to, he also got hurt 3 of his 6 seasons. So he's pretty much, I can kind of see him I can kind of see that being a factor in him retiring early.
Yeah,
I
think when they announced it, that he did say that he felt like he spent more of his time in the NFL hurt than he did.
Yeah, he put
healthy.
all that work just to get hurt in rehab and all that. So I think he didn't want to go through it anymore. He just wanted to stay healthy in the way,
which is understandable.
Yeah.
It really is. And then again, if you have that kind of desire to do other things in life and don't want to wait, I guess, until it's too late, I suppose you could say, then by all means, I don't. If I was a fan of the player, or I was a fan, say he played his entire career with one team, as a diehard fan, he's my favorite player, I wouldn't blame him for wanting to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's good that he walked out on his own terms, doing something that he wanted to really pursue. And I think a lot of young players, I think they're going to have a different mindset, to think life outside and after football.
Yes,
absolutely. I think it's going to occur
We'll start seeing it more.
Start seeing it more, yeah.
More and then you have guys like you mentioned some Niner players. Heath Miller with the Steelers decided he wanted to retire. Before he was more so forced to retire in the sense of he just didn't have the ability anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see guys that kind of see it not so much as they want to, not like it's a selfish thing, but they want to play as long as they can, and more so guys that know there's more to life, I guess, than football. Which is also weird because these guys have been, it's their whole life. They got drafted when they were 18, or not 18, I'm sorry, they went into college to play football when they were 18 and then got drafted in their early 20s or
2021,
pursued the dream for their entire life. They don't really know much else. Maybe didn't have a job other than their NFL career. So definitely something I think we might see more of.
And remember, Thurman turned down tons of offers at that was $4 million from various teams.
Yeah, he had some good offers on the table.
Yeah, some good offers on the table.
Like I said, after a very good career year there at safety too, with 52 total tackles at safety is a pretty good number. 2 forced fumbles, like I was saying, 2 sacks from the. I'd say he's a free safety.
Oh, did I say he was a cornerback earlier in the segment?
I don't know.
Oh, well, my bad. I didn't mean to say that. But speaking of safeties, another safety that had a big contract extension earlier this morning is Harrison Smith of the Minnesota Vikings.
Very good player. I like him. Out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Yeah,
very good player.
Very good player. And I think it makes him the highest paid safety in the game right now.
Yes, so Harrison Smith this morning signed a contract extension, $51.25 million or $51.25 million over the next 5 years. It includes a $10 million signing bonus, and it includes $28.578 million guaranteed against injury, making him, yes, indeed, the highest paid safety in the NFL.
Yeah, rightfully so. He does deserve it, too. Ever since he got drafted in the first round, 2012, he's just been a monster on the field for that defense.
Consistent piece of that defense, I should say. And also, we'll see how long that tag of highest paid safety in the NFL
it's going to go up.
Owned by him because I think Eric Berry is coming up to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to go up pretty soon. And Tyrann Mathieu also, we also talked about him in the previous episode. He wants a new contract.
I think he'll get good money, but I don't know if it'll make him the highest paid.
No.
I think Eric Berry is the most likely to get a deal bigger than that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And rightfully so. Eric Berry did have a huge year, coming back from.
Yeah, and had just a great career there.
Not only that, he came back, from that,
from his leukemia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be 100% okay with Eric Berry getting a contract extension like that, or at least a new contract. I think he's going to be up. His deal is going to be up, so I think it would be a new contract.
But going back to Harrison Smith here, he played 73.5% of the snaps, and when he was on the field, the defense at Minnesota allowed a total quarterback QBR of 47.2 with him on the field. That's quite a stat line over there.
They're putting together a pretty good defense with him in the back end, like you're saying, and then a young Anthony Barr there in the linebacker core.
He played pretty solid.
Yes, it did have a good year. Their D-line's getting a little better. They have Xavier Rhodes on the outside. They're adding some pieces to the secondary. So I think keeping him is a big step for them. He's kind of that guy in the defense.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Patrick Willis back when he was on the Niners. He's kind of like that guy.
Or Chad Greenway.
Yeah.
Who's so long. I don't know if Greenway's still playing for the Vikings, but for so long he had been that middle linebacker, that centerpiece for the defense, has a lot of turnover in the defense, but has some sort of continuity with it, having that same piece, in the middle, having that same guy. So I think that is now that piece for the Vikings. especially with such a good player like Harrison Smith is. He had a very good game in that playoff game against the Seahawks in the tundra of outdoor Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
There
at
in
the
January.
TCF Bank Stadium.
Great. That was a great game to watch.
That's a really good stadium. I actually took a trip to Minnesota last year, and I saw the stadium first, hand in hand.
It's a nice
amazing.
stadium.
It's amazing, yeah. Yeah, so, well, gonna let you, no, I was gonna say we're gonna let you go. We're gonna come back with some more news, when we come back from, we're gonna take our last break here. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and with our last news for the day, what we reported on a couple weeks ago with the moving of the site of the NFL Pro Bowl is now going to include the change of format back to the original format of the Pro Bowl, NFC versus AFC conference intact, as opposed to the last few years where it was kind of more of a fantasy football situation with Hall of Fame players as coaches. What do you think about them going back to the typical, not old school, but, the original way of the Pro Bowl, AFC versus NFC? What do you think about that?
I'm going to miss the fantasy format of
you like that?
Oh, yeah, I love the fantasy format. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I think that's kind of a way they're trying to generate more buzz to the game. They're just constantly trying to change this game and for viewership, and I don't think it's the type of game that's going to get viewership. But I think I do think it's going to generate more interest in the sport of football in a way, because they got Disney involved in the game now. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna. I think they're going to have a lot of events during that Pro Bowl weekend. To get create a lot of interest among younger, audience.
I think a cool thing they could do for the Pro Bowl too is how they have, which I got to go this past year, which was a dream come true for me.
You got to the Pro Bowl?
No, I'm saying I got to go to Super Bowl City.
Oh yeah.
And I think it'd be really cool for them to do something similar, especially with it moving to a new location.
I think that's what they're trying to implement in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think adding something like Super Bowl City, adding these events around the venue and all these cool things, I think would really add to the attraction of the Pro Bowl to people coming out and seeing it. No, I would love to go to the Pro Bowl. Like I said in the
I actually would too. Yeah.
I enjoy watching the Pro Bowl, so I would like doing that. But no, I got to go to Super Bowl City this year. Since it was in San Francisco, it was the closest it's ever been to me since I've been alive. And it was really awesome. It was really cool to see, I got to see NFL Network set, all that stuff. So it was, players, Hall of Fame guys, it was really cool. And so I think adding something like that to the Pro Bowl would really, I think, be a plus. I think it would really open some doors for some cool stuff and some cool activities for them to do around there. Yeah,
I agree, what I just said. But what do you think of, the Pro Bowl going back to the original format?
I do like the draft thing. The kind of fantasy football format. I do enjoy that. I
think that was the fun part of the game, was the draft, the draft of the.
Well, see, for me, it like people were saying, it opened doors for people to be playing with each other that normally wouldn't be able to, and that is very cool. But the Pro Bowl doesn't really have a lot of rules. And in the last year, I think it was conferenced. It was Jeff Saturday's last year. He played with the Packers, and they let him come over from the NFC side to have one more snap with Peyton.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
It's not like it's some insane sanctioned off, restrictions all over the place kind of game. There's still room for fun in it, and I think, although I'll miss the whole idea of the kind of fantasy format for it, I think it's still going to be successful, at least for me. And being somebody who does like the Pro Bowl and likes it for what it is, because I do look at it as the last football game before the Super Bowl, the second to last game until preseason. So I soak in as much as I can. The only thing I would say is I don't know if you think. What do you think if they do you like them having it before the Super Bowl, or do you like it how it used to be and have it after? Because so many people don't play now. It keeps both. Typically you would assume the 2 Super Bowl teams would have a decent amount of Pro Bowlers, and so a lot of them can't play. So do you think if they moved it back to after the Super Bowl, would that even add a little bit more to it?
I do think they should move it back, for that reason, because you're not going to see most of the players from the Super Bowl teams.
You won't see any of them.
Yeah, you won't see any of them at all. Yeah, but I never really liked them moving the game before the Super Bowl anyway, because I think that's kind of what it hurt viewership in a way.
Yeah, you have somebody like Gronkowski who had lost the week prior. He's like, no, man, I am just beat. Like, he loves going to the Pro Bowl. Like, he was kind of bummed that he didn't get to go, but he was just after all the months of the NFL season, he was just worn out.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to move it back there, have guys, maybe...
Because it's kind of like a mini vacation in a way, after the whole season.
Mm-hmm, and have guys be able to, and maybe some of the Super Bowl players still won't show up, but you get that option still, You get those guys that can come around and still play in the game. Maybe I feel like it would help more the guys that, like the Gronkowskis and the people who lost in the AFC Championship game. You got a couple more weeks to actually, got 4 more weeks, whatever it is, instead of having to play the next week. Gives them that time for, a break and to be with their families after such a long season. Yeah,
and you got Disney World involved in a way. Mm-hmm. So, they could bring their families. So, I would love if they move it back. As a player, if I'm a player with a family, I would want it after the Super Bowl. Regardless if I make the big game or not,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was definitely cool the way they did it back then, doing it after the Super Bowl. So I think that'd be cool to do it like that again. But you know what? When we have more news for this, we'll talk about it. But we don't today, and that's it. That's our show. So we'd like to thank you.
That's it?
That's it, man. That's it.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
man, as you said before our last commercial, we'd like to let you go.
I know, I said a little too prematurely. I was like, oh, wait, no, we got 10 more. We got a couple more minutes. No, we got one more story. Yeah.
Yes, but we don't have any more stories for you today, so get out.
Yeah, get out and get active.
Okay, play.
I mean like playing outside if you're like a teenager.
NFL play 60.
Yeah, play 60.
Well, we'd like to thank you guys for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. You can find us on iTunes at GSMC_football, and you can find us on Twitter. I'm sorry, on iTunes it's just Golden State Media Concepts or GSMC Football. On iTunes or Twitter. So on Twitter you can find us at GSMC_podcast, and on Facebook at Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and go to our website at the GSMCpodcast.com. You can see all of our shows from our amazing network, not just sports as we do here, but we have cooking and we have
cooking?
We do. It's not getting started yet, but technology, movies,
I think health and fitness. We got health and fitness. I see that.
Going. We have basketball getting started this week. Jeremiah and my co-host on the sports and soccer show, Ben, are starting the baseball show next week.
Yeah, it is going to be lit. I'm kidding.
Sci-fi, television. We have plenty of shows there for every walk of life. Social media news, a lot of shows for anybody out there who's looking for a fix.
Yeah, there's a lot of great shows out there for every interest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you guys go to the GSMCpodcast.com, you will find all of them there, as well as the ones we have up on iTunes. If you just search GSMC, you will find them all there, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, we're also on Stitcher, I believe.
Yeah, we're on a lot of different formats.
So just for those that don't have an iPhone out there, we're not just on
also
iTunes.
Google Play.
We're on Google Play, too, for your Droid. For your Droid users,
people. Yeah. But as always, thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. I am Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
Thank you guys again, and we will see you on our next episode.